If you don't know, I'm not KJ. My brother, KJ, died in between Coretta's first and second stroke. I'm King Jarlo, but I'm not Little Man. King Kid. Now, there are two King organizations official by our mothers. Now, there is the King Center, founded by Coretta Scott King, and there's the King Association, founded by Cynthia Dolores Nottage Tucker. Now, when I talk about the remnant, our kids, I date them from being born 1988 to 2007. This is the 1988, the year when Coretta gave Cynthia this legacy award. She founded the King Association the next year. Now, it's all good until January 17th, 1994. It's the first King Day of service. And the next day, I wasn't there. I just know the King Center Youth and Creative Arts Department was killed by Dexter and Isaac. Leave Bernice out of it. She left the year before. And so, Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta, they got 4 kids. If you in Atlanta, you heard about Yolanda, but you never met the Yolkmeister. She the only one stepped outside the bubble. And see, Dexter was 7 when his father died, 5. Bernice was when her daddy died. She had no practical understanding of none of this shit. Yolanda's the Funtown baby. She was born in all of it. And when escaping this Atlanta bubble, she was always at Zion, always at Bright Hope. This is Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter, Coretta Scott King's daughter. Of course, she had a 1st Battalion detail, Centurion International Executive Protection Network. That's why I consider her a big sister. Now, the 18th, Dexter took the staff from 71 to 14, killed the Creative Arts and Youth Department of the King Center. It's a problem. Because, see, Yolanda birthed the Creative Arts Department at the King Center in 1982. Just like my hip-hop hermeneutics professor, her mama's big sister and mentor, Edith Scott Bagley, birthed the Creative Arts Department at Cheney. Now, if you understand the amount of prophetic power Edith Scott Bagley got and the respect and prophetic power that Yolanda Denise got, you not doing shit to ever upset them. Like, yeah. Dexter, you were Martin Luther King Jr.'s son. That don't mean shit about being Yolanda's little brother. So, I'm going to tell you what happened. The 19th, it was a conference call. And, see, in the 1960s, my spiritual pop, Leon Howard Sullivan, gave Martin Luther King Jr. select patronage. Sully told me, after ML died, that's when Jesse Jackson and LC watered down in Operation Breadbasket. We can see the difference now. Y'all seen them 2 boycotts? They ain't do nothing for us. A boycott doesn't produce jobs, doesn't train businesses, doesn't circulate our dollar, just make the talking heads like they got them 3K. Now, when Dexter killed the youth department and creative arts department, do y'all realize when Martin Luther King Jr. proposed to Coretta Scott King, it was on the steps of the New England Conservatory of Music. This is the lady who gave the Freedom Concert. You don't kill a creative arts department of Coretta Scott King. Dexter, you fuck up. I'm going to tell you. Isaac Ferris Jr. has 15 years on me. I'm a 15-year-old kid. When the mamas say, we going to rebuild it, and Amazing Grace, she does what Sully did in the 60s. She gave Edith, Amazing Grace, Amazing Grace got many universities. Andrea Dash Gray is so much more than just the wife of William Herbert Gray. This Miss Tech right here, Miss Computer for Kids right here, Miss Marketplace right here. Okay, Marion Grace Gundy. Do y'all realize this is Miss Ethics, HU? You know. Cynthia Dolores Nodis Tucker. She didn't just found the King Association. That was after the Bethune Du Bois Institute. I think I was in kindergarten when her and Shirley Chisholm and Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks and Amazing Grace Banks Sullivan and Andrea Dash Gray founded the National Political Congress of Black Women. She put Shirley Chisholm, first woman to run for president. Yeah. So when Dexter killed the youth department, you didn't kill your mama's youth department. You killed Mommy Central. Yes, it's not a rumor. Dexter and Isaac got fucked up. I seen it. It's funny as shit. Only because Martin Luther King Jr. redeemed it. When you hear about them raiding my house, we was watching the tape, okay? So there's another copy of the tape. Because I'm the chairman, I'm cutting Dexter out. So rather or not, one of my 4 sons later on in life and future generations will release that tape, I have. But for me, we only gonna watch Isaac get his head cracked because he broke the covenant. Now, Amazing Grace gave her mini university model, which the original college for teens was Mommy Grace's. She gave it to Cynthia Dolores Nodis Tucker and Edith Scott Bagley. They launched it at Cheney in 95. That's when a covenant was established. So these are the mothers of the King Association. Amazing Grace Banks Sullivan, Andrea Dash Gray, Marion Grace Gundy, Cynthia Dolores Nodis Tucker, Shirley Chisholm, Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks, Edith Scott Bagley, and Yolanda in 95. Dexter got tabled, but Isaac just on some fuckery. She saved his ass in 95. He not gonna stop. Okay? So she birthed Urban Success University, where she consolidated all the youth work of our mamas under one youth umbrella that could not be corporately or politically controlled. Now, our mothers started ascending in 2005. January, Shirley Chisholm. October 12th, Cynthia Dolores Nodis Tucker. October 24th, Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks. January 30th, 2006, Coretta Scott King. Not on the board, Yoki's mama. This began the sacred ascension period because they're the 2 founders. Cynthia Dolores Nodis Tucker of the King Association and Coretta Scott King. 110 days between October the 12th and January 30th. Then our daughters honor, prayer, fasting, reflection. Now, covenant. You're going to do what you do. Do not ever try to rewrite Mama Grace's work. Or you're going to get your head cracked, Isaac. Everything all good. I'm gonna skip 2004 when Bernice come back. We skip that. We skip that. Our mothers died. Oh, I already did. Did I mention it? But I skipped it. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on Yolanda. 2007 King holiday. I got to bring it up. When Bernice came back in 2004, she brought, she publicized her new daddy, Eddie Long. Her issue was reigniting the legacy, and it was against gay marriage. Whatever. Yolanda, big humanitarian. Coretta, big humanitarian. And I'm not getting into that. Okay? I'm going to just say we saw Yolanda's position on King Inc. Her mama dies. Well, let me break it down. Coretta's first stroke was coming out of Selma. In between then, there's August of 2005, the King coup. Dexter's abusing his power while his mother's on her deathbed. We're hoping to get better. And the board throws him out, finds some loophole, removes 8 board members, put 8 board members back. One of them, Isaac Ferris Jr. You just empowered this fucknut. And we see it in Yolanda's eyes. We see it in Edith's eyes, and that's causing a lot of tension. It's a 2007 King holiday, and Yolanda freezes the holiday. I can't fuck him up with all these people around. Go up, and I'm not going behind Warnock's desk the way he disrespected Joe. No fucking way. So I go and introduce Yolanda. 5 months later, at a King Inc. executive house, one of Dexter's friend's house, she dies in extremely questionable circumstances. There's an international order coming to get an audit or an autopsy. Willie Watkins burns the body before it can come through. It's a sensitive topic. They're launching the A.D. King Foundation. Yolanda ain't eating cold. Alveda and Isaac are, you know, some of us, I can't get my big brother's call to the Pentagon, and well, it's not even the Pentagon, it's the Department of War no more. So everybody sees what the fuck this is. So there's Reverend Dr. Albert Paul Brenson, shared the back porch with Master Chief William Goins, one of my father's mentors. Go, because Reverend Brenson's in the process. So we kick off the A.D. King Foundation. And 2011, 2007, I walk our daughters into Coretta Scott. 2011, our mothers, Amazing Grace Banks Sullivan, my own mama, and Edith, get me to throw the Watts Night party in the King Center Freedom Hall. 4 days later, my mother dies. March 15th, Amazing Grace Banks Sullivan ascends. June 11th, Edith Scott Bagley ascends. Amelia Isadora Platts Boynton Robinson has her 100th birthday at the King Center Auditorium, August 18, 2011. Nobody shows the fuck up. I'm out, man. And Fulton County trying to lock my teachers up for this fucking cheating scandal. I'm out. I take out Reed Lindsay, superintendent in Pottstown, taking advantage of the kids. We convert the dope corner, 627 West Clearfield, into the sanctuary for the prison ministry that went behind the wall in 07. And we launched Edith Scott Bagley campus of Urban Success University in Wilmington, Delaware. Bam. Next, William Herbert Gray dies. My father dies, beginning of 2014. And Joseph Roberts is giving me this last project, the United Nations Global Celebration of People of African Descent, from 2015 until 2024. We locked in. Now, Joe Roberts dies. And it's a sticky situation. I skipped the 2012 March with Naomi. Boom, we doing that. And we look up, and it's 2022. It's the 40-year anniversary of Yolanda birthing the Creative Arts Department. And in October, Lonnie McCauley, Rosa Louise McCauley Parks' great nephew, and Soleil producing the Real Rebellious Rosa Parks. Cynthia Dolores Nottage Tucker, y'all see when y'all go to Rosa Parks Project, dying wishes that everybody gets the truth about Rosa Parks. Our daughters only want to watch the real rebellious Rosa Parks documentary inside of the Kingston Auditorium. Go up to the Rosa Parks room and take some selfies. They get blocked, charge $2,500. Whatever. We over. Now, I'm here and I'm trying to not get involved with this. I don't believe this is Bernice. I don't believe this is Isaac. And so it's the end of 2024, and y'all don't know Yolanda saved my life December 10th, 2003, become a single dad. And it's the anniversary. I'm in the sanctuary with my son. Heritage. I walk out. They say I smacked this dude that was just taking a picture with me. It's just whatever. February 18th, 2023. My best friend, Fitz, Sergeant Christopher Fitzgerald, first officer in the line of duty at Temple University, is murdered in the line of duty. Josh Shapiro comes and eulogizes him. I'm being prosecuted by Warnock, and I've got the duality of this ministry. My youth in Atlanta are like, how are we getting prosecuted by Warnock when Josh Shapiro just came in? Whatever. I asked David Dunjab, National Park Service officer, hey, listen, we got daughters involved in this. And with Fritz dying March 7th, the major date, you give me a mandatory ticket, forget about it. Our daughter's got something going on. Reschedule the ticket. No, you're going to have this mandatory appearance. He gives me this mandatory appearance March the 7th. And one of our Atlanta daughters on March 8th is murdered in Alabama and doesn't come back. This is horrible, especially for me. Because if I was in Alabama and not in this court case, our daughters, whatever. And there's this thing that's pushed back from, Isaac and King Inc. Nobody's focused on that. Focusing on Keyshawn Middlebrooks, one of my daughter's best friends. So throughout the buffoonery, the political game, they keep me out of Christine King Ferris's funeral, Naomi Barbara King's funeral, Marvin Brenson's funeral, because I gave a eulogy for Bear, the homeless individual that froze to death on December. I gave his eulogy December 30th, 2022. On the 400 block Auburn. They want to sweep him under the rug until Cornelius Taylor, another homeless individual, is murdered January 16, 2025. And now John Vaughn, after banning me from the congregation and all this other stuff, needs to walk the homeless in, and he needs me. So he lifts this ban. We walk Cornelius Taylor in. And during the funeral, I'm having a conversation with Willie Watkins. Willie, you got morning services. Let me, this shit with Isaac is going to play out. I don't want Ferris caught up in it. Let me send it over. Cool, no big deal. Everybody, when you go to the Kingdom Marketplace, you can enroll. You can go free. He checked, I want to upgrade, and he puts his credit card in to sponsor a girl upgrade. The girls deliver all the deliverables. And it comes time to pay the bill, and Willie reverses the charges on his deposit. Says that the work isn't up to caliber. My daughters sue him in magistrate court, and when they sue him in magistrate court, he hires this attorney, and in the interim, simultaneously, our girls are kicking off this Black Women Run the World campaign at Elizabeth. They're totally separate. The event coordinator at Elizabeth has already got it scheduled. I'm coming through the walkthrough. She looks at some stuff, and she sees our position on King Inc., sends me an email, text message. Elizabeth can't host the event. She says, Elizabeth can't host the event because of your position with the King Center. Wait, little girl. Hold on. Boom. So Willie Watkins has a diamond, but now you just stopped our daughters from being over here at Elizabeth. Now, let me tell you, when Warnock came, I'm in the rafters of the balcony of Elizabeth. And so all of our daughters are over there. Warnock done that first lady. All our daughters know is wow, 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 wow. Say it backwards. Wow. And this is a clusterfuck. So let me now Dexter dies. It's 2024. And the challenge that we have is about our mamas. But at Dexter's funeral, Martin Luther King III, who has Coretta Scott's granddaughter, squashes the beef, goes behind the desk and says, me and Bernice, we're going to mention all the mamas who built this especially my Edith, who wrote my mama's autobiography. No beef. No beef. No beef. No beef. Our daughter's gonna do what they doing, and I run up on Angela Ferris Watkins on at the Vitamin Lady shop on Auburn Avenue. Angela, I can't bite my tongue no more. Angela, tell me three things. Don't bite your tongue, do it in love, and don't get yourself excited. And I'm like, you don't know what I know. I gotta carve your baby out. Now, I'm gonna give Willie Watkins a pass. He's 70 some odd years old. He don't talk so good. What about now? Ferris got an uncle, Roy. Roy Cool. Listen, my boy. This is what it is. Now, it's a bunch of shit between Isaac Ferris, Shannon Jones, Eric Vinton Thomas that Bernice and Angela is not in the middle of. That I think. But I want y'all to know what happens. So, I got to put it on the board because it is. Now, there's 5 diamonds that have burned out girls. There's Wheels and Tires by BLE. There's Kinley Catering. There's FCS Mortgage. There's Simpson Nonprofit. They're not off the hook. I'm carving Willie Watkins out because when we were in court, it was November the 21st. That is the Friday of the Monday. That is November 17th. That is Yolanda's birthday. And while this white nationalist peckerneck was slandering the fuck out of me and digging a hole that he can't get out, he said that Ferris is now the principal of Willie Watkins. Okay? So we gotta carve Ferris out. I'm gonna tell you what happened. All right. So the girl checks Precious Sermons that she wants a diamond. A diamond is $2,500. Now, our daughters, this is part of the Brains Over Booze movement. They're combating the over-sexualized culture, social media pressure, attempting to objectify them. I found out our daughters were spending $250 from the DeKalb Police Department and Atlanta Police Department for a stripping license. It's $150 to the Secretary of State, $100 in their business bank account. They go through this business funding course and they got their own LLCs. Bam. You can spend $250 to sponsor them on your own, just less than half a bad date. All right. Or you can patronize them. You go bronze, it's $250. You go silver, it's $500. You go gold, it's $1,000. You can go diamond and diamond sponsorship level. This girl checks she wants to go diamond and she wants to sponsor. Puts her credit card on for the sponsorship, credit card deposit down. The girls deliver everything with the diamond. Diamond profile, featured article, some extra GEO work for his Memorial Day event, time to pay the bill, and Willie reverses the charges on his deposit. He does not say that he didn't authorize it. Tells the bank the work isn't up to caliber. Girls sue him in magistrate court because they can talk in magistrate court. I'm assuming he hires a lawyer. Lawyer looks at it. You said the work isn't up to caliber. What they delivered is amazing. You're going to go inside of court. You're going to deal with this and their damages. Here's why. Because these girls, they're doing this to not be on the pole stripping. They don't have. So this lawyer, he creates a counterclaim that moves it from magistrate to superior court. Magistrate court, they don't have to have a lawyer. In superior court, they need a lawyer. This case gonna cost them $3,000. The lawyer is banking on the fact they don't have the $3,000. So when he moves it to superior court, he files an answer. They can't answer it unless they have a lawyer. If they can't answer it with a lawyer, the counterclaim facts are admissible, and they never have to deal with the facts of the case in magistrate court. He can get it dismissed because they don't have a lawyer. But the idiot's stupid. He doesn't realize I ran Go Small Biz for Frank Tarkenton. I'm the one that got Harlan Stonecipher to invite Isaac Ferris over to Prepaid Legal in 2008 for them to possibly get a check at, that $250,000 check they want for sponsorship of the King holiday. And Isaac fucked it up. So I've indirectly been responsible for over $150 million of Martindale Hubbell AV-rated attorney sales. We've already seen that if this weirdo takes this shit to court, we're going to withdraw the claim and refile it in magistrate court. It just makes sense. So anyway, we're trying to see how far this is going to go. Because the other side of it is there's 10 girls, mompreneurs, single moms, and when they have this Black Women Run the World, See, so the Kingdom Marketplace is their deliverable for the United Nations Global Celebration of People of African Descent, that decade from 2015 to 2024. It closed in January. So for the students to get away from their administrators in school, first Saturday got is May 31st, 2025. They got it at Elizabeth. I'm going over to do the walkthrough because these 10, they got a deal. You know, when you got the table, right? And you got the little fancy tablecloth, and then you got the little banner thing right here, right? And then you got the little flyers, and you got the cards. That's really about $1,000 worth of marketing collateral. But for us as fathers giving back to the community, they got them in bulk for $600. It's 10 of them. So that's about $6,000 worth of out-of-pocket expenses they had for this event at Elizabeth Baptist Church. That when the event coordinator from Elizabeth, who used to work at the King Center, sends me a text and says she's not holding the event at Elizabeth because of the girls' position with the King Center, this $6,000 on this $2,500, that brings the girls' realistic damages, this $6,000 to $8,500. But they got the time where they're not getting paid. So the maximum that they can sue Willie for in magistrate court is $15,000. So they sue him for $15,000, thinking Willie Watkins gonna see that they serious and call him and talk to him. Maybe he'll hire an attorney like he did and see they're dead to rights. Call these girls, do something. These girls find out they're moving to Superior Court because there's a counterclaim. How in the world, when you burn them for their shit, can you ever counterclaim them? DK, we got $1,000 for what? Now, I call over to this peckerneck motherfucker. Hey, my boy, dude, we're not telling we going to trial. Are you fucking nuts? Okay. Now, we thinking it's a fatherhood issue. So I'm going to deal with you, Willie, because Georgia is a one-sided recorded state. That means that you're having a phone conversation. If one person agrees, I got this conversation with him about carving your daughter out, you're going to throw in the middle of the mix. I'm going to tell you what this motherfucker does. The white boy. He tries to get a TPO to get me removed from anywhere Willie's at. The daughter that died, Keyshawn Middlebrooks, on August the 28th, he has Willie sitting inside of Kinley's catering. Has a girl who's a part of our mompreneur by instructions from Kinley take a picture of him sitting there. This fucker goes over and files a TPO in Superior Court for me not to be aware anywhere he is. Puts it in front of a black judge who recuses herself. This lawyer ain't getting it. He bench shops and gets in front of Rachel Krause. Flips the entire narrative. Now it's nothing to do with the business debt. It's about me. And this motherfucker uses some language where he totally disrespected me. Now, I'm going to tell you. Ain't nobody coming after Willie Watkins. I'm really leaving Willie off the hook. Okay? Because of what we found about Angela. I'm going to tell y'all what his lawyer said. His lawyer on the record said, well, he admitted he had a fundraiser. Let me tell you what happened for the respect that the remnant has for Ferris Watkins. See, her staff might have fucked up and ordered this diamond. Might have caused consequential damages of $6,000. But I'm going to tell you something. I got a lot of young men at Morehouse. And there's a tremendous amount of respect for Jenny Celeste Parks. Tremendous amount of respect for Christine King Ferris. Tremendous amount of respect for Angela Ferris Watkins. Tremendous amount of respect for Ferris Watkins. So some of my mentees in her group, Jazz, Kari, Axum developers. You see them on the Kingdom Marketplace. They brought a diamond because I read HU. So I was dealing with Morehouse. Then because of our daughters doing all of the free ones, some of us as men, we not exploiting our daughters, we tipping them. Because we see what they doing trying not to be on the pole. It was about a $20 tip every Friday. I stepped it up to $50, believe in competitive Jazz stepped it up to 100. Corey stepped it up to 100. Right before Morehouse Spellhouse Homecoming, my Morehouse brothers fundraised $3,000. We took that off of the 3,000 that had happened because this is what our daughters got burned on. Jazz will tell you, because we had such a respect for Ferris, there was one site where I went over. I picked up the fucking trash. I bust my ass in manual labor. I got paid $200 for this shit. Jazz treated me like a tyrant. That got us 32. Now I'm gonna tell you. Y'all heard of Judge Stephen O'Neill. We had this shit when motherfuckers taking advantage of our daughters. Judge O'Neill remanded me in the Montgomery County Correctional Facility for 180 days. I did that. Now this judge, Rachel Krause, I didn't record it. But see, this fucking peckerneck don't understand who these daughters are. So one of these daughters, they was watching it. And the language he used about me and what he said about the backdrop, they coming for him. Now this judge, because you can't record a court case, this judge can give me 20 days and $1,000 fine for contempt. She gonna give it to me. I'm gonna go to jail for 20 days. However, I want y'all to understand something, okay? We're gonna do some math. So there was 8,500, there's 25 in this 6. We did 32, okay? So $5,300. Now, I owe an apology to Angela. I owe an apology to Ferris. I owe an apology to Lady Oliver. Of the 403 paper church directories that I did, the 48,000 folk that registered, my number one directory, out of the 46 in Georgia, the 8,200, the largest one is Elizabeth. The respect that I have for Craig Oliver, starting young, pressing on, pressing through, transparency and leadership. The respect I have for Lady Oliver. Y'all don't know my daughter, and you never the fuck will. She don't like y'all, she called it KJers. She considers Lady Oliver a major spiritual leader in her development. I teach Ascension. The reason our daughters picked Elizabeth, because of Ascension. Now, our daughters have been building the world's first AI-powered generative engine optimized entrepreneurial ecosystem, consolidating all of my Georgia directories into one social entrepreneurial enterprise ministry. God did this. God did this because on May 19th, 2026, he reset the internet. There are a ton of black women that need what our daughters have. And I'm going to say this. Everybody knew that Ashley Bell ran the SBA for fucking Donald Trump. Okay? Why didn't that shit come out earlier? Because Angela was on the board. I'm going to tell you. I could be wrong. But because of the covenant I was given by Joseph Lawrence Roberts, William Herbert Gray, I'm going to take this one on the chin. I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm Amazing Grace's lightning rod. Let me teach y'all what that means. The lightning rod, see, there's the house, right? And then, I'm going to draw it for you. And then there's the lightning rod. The lightning rod doesn't cause the storm. The lightning rod doesn't cause the storm. It sits a little higher in the house, okay? So it can absorb the power of the storm and ground it so it doesn't destroy the house. The historic Ebenezer Baptist Church is not the cornerstone of powerful black men. It's prophetic black women. And the covenant between Daddy King and William Herbert Gray. The third is not all daughters. It's first daughters. Jenny Celeste Parks, first daughter. Alberta Williams King. Her first daughter, Willie Christine King Ferris. Her first daughter, Angela Ferris Watkins. Her first daughter, Ferris Watkins. Martin Luther King Jr.'s first daughter, Yolanda. Martin Luther King III's first daughter, little Yolanda. Did you notice I didn't mention Bernice, nor did I mention Alveda? My shit is a man's deal. When you look at the King Association, niggas ain't got no backbone. It's shifted. Martin Luther King III got a daughter. Now, when you look, I want you to understand something. Because there's some women, and I'm not teaching the third one. Our daughters will work it out. And I want y'all to understand some shit. See, when you look and you see this picture of the original Mompreneur Squad, Amazing Grace Banks Sullivan, right? She left some instructions. Eda Scott Bagley left some instructions. See, Coretta never got to see her granddaughter. The prophetess never got to see her granddaughter. All three of these prophetic women of God have granddaughters. The letters from Coretta Scott King to Amazing Grace Banks Sullivan are not a legend. They're in the vault, tucked deep inside of the Sullivan, none of your business. They will never be released to to Bernice. They will only ever be released to little Yolanda. Now, Bernice did not know that her mother had an autobiography written by Edith until after Yolanda died. There's a lot Bernice doesn't know. I'm going to tell you like this, what real men don't do. We don't have girly fights. Now see, Joe Roberts, William Herbert Gray, they dealt with this so that it didn't affect Angela, Yolanda, and Bernice wasn't around. The shit that Dexter and Isaac was into. Now, I've had that privilege prophetically passed to me. See, Bible written in Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic. The African Asiatics words that predate the development and existence of the English Empire by at least 1,000 years. Original word for God is Ab. There's two derivatives. There is Abba, and there is Ab-womb. Abba is where we get father. Also, source, sustainer, protector, provider, progenitor. Ab-womb, where we get daddy. Now, if you're talking about Dr. King, talking about the son, talking about Reverend King, talking about the son, I am the baby of the Zion Baptist Church. I'm the prophetic point guard of the Bright Hope Baptist Church ball court. But by default, I'm the last son of the Heritage Sanctuary Historic Ebenezer Baptist Church. So I get to be the last son of Daddy King's death. I'm daddy now. And so any real father is going to protect the daughters of this ministry. Now, one of the things that happens in Ebenezer is you get some daughters of fathers, and they got privilege. My daughter, she got privilege. Yolanda, because really it's three daughters of this Heritage Sanctuary, okay? I'm putting them in age range. There is Ferris. That's the princess, okay? It's the oldest. It's Yolanda. It's number 2. Then, don't even worry about her name. Put it to you like this. Tell you my father said, champions don't qualify on last year's stats, nor last generation's reputation. Now, let me give you this prophetic thing because I got a few minutes. We got this, okay? All right, let me tell you our story. Okay, this is our story. This is our story. This is our story. Okay. All right. So these kings and queens get captured, brought over into Egypt, right? The U.S. and then we got the wilderness, okay? And then we got the promised land, all right? We're going to call Egypt and the U.S., we're going to call that the realm of oppression, okay? We're going to call the wilderness the realm of development. We're going to call the promised land the realm of purpose, okay? And so the methods of, over here, we were on the plantation. Over here, we had the corporation and the bank, okay? Over here, we had the internet, metaverse, let me call it AIGOville. Oh, now over here, the enemy, Satan and them, they try to control us with violence, okay? Over here, they use debt and inflation. Over here, they use ignorance, rewriting our story. Now on the plantation, right? Can we talk business? I talk business. And so you got two costs in business. You got your hard costs and you got your soft costs. Now, the slave masters had to pay for the slaves' food, had to pay for their clothes, had to pay for their housing, had to use their time to micromanage them. Now, God decided to call Grubhub. You're like, what? A deliverer. Because God, he wanted to move his people. Anytime God decides to move his people from one place to another, he calls a deliverer. He wanted to move them from the realm of oppression, right? The Egypt into the realm of development. So God called the deliverer named Moses. Because God be using the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. And God wanted a little hood boy to go talk to Moses on behalf of God. So through a divinely orchestrated series of events, God allowed Moses to go to the religious cemetery. Boom. Now, watch this. Moses comes through on dry ground. God shuts the water up on our enemies. Exodus, the 32nd chapter. And God tells Moses, pick one kid from all 12 tribes. Oh, actually, Exodus 32 is when Aaron comes up with the golden calf. God tells Moses in Numbers 13, make sure y'all put this here, because that's where me and my brother pop up, KJ. God tells Moses, pick one kid from all 12 tribes, send him over to the land I'm giving them. Underline that word, give. God ain't made he could lie. They go over it, everything God says is true. They come back and King Jerlo, Caleb says, you know what? Let's go take it. And they want to stone him, like you see him doing to me on Auburn Avenue. God said, Moses, I had enough. Trip canceled. I'm going to let him die in the wilderness. Except for Caleb, King Jerlo. He got a different spirit. I'm going to lead him, use him to lead the kids over. Now, I want you to understand, this Exodus story is 40 years. This halfway point is 20 years. It was 20 years ago when our mamas died. Began to. And so 20 years later, let me fast forward the videotape. Joshua, the 5th chapter, 6th verse. The word of the Lord says, none of the men who crossed the Red Sea would be able to cross the Jordan. Why? Because they didn't obey the voice of the Lord. I am not a soothsayer. I don't predict your future. You know your social security number. Ain't no reason for me to tell you. Okay? And so the prophet's responsibility is to be the voice of God for the people of God during that time of God. Let's go back to the leadership book and look at what Moses says. Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter. Moses says, don't forget the Lord. It was God who gave you the ability to get wealth. He gave you the building, gave you the budget, gave you the Bentley, the Beamer, the Benz. Let me put everybody on one accord. Everybody breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Cool. It's God who gave you that breath. Okay? Not so you get caught up in material trappings of success. Not so you become a quarter. Because the Bible says God gave us the ability to get wealth so to keep the covenant he made with our fathers. Because if you lift up any idol, God will shut you down like he did generations before. Your budget could be an idol. Your father's last name could be an idol. Moses said don't turn any idols. That's why we look at Deuteronomy, the 34th chapter, where Moses got to go up, look over, see the promised land. But God, don't forget him, didn't allow anybody to know where Moses' tomb is. Why? Because the story is completed with Joshua. And in our finite understanding, if we know where Moses' tomb was, we put it on Auburn Avenue, instead of preparing Joshua's that can use the word of God to fight the spiritual satanic forces that are coming against them, then we're going to turn it into a Moses assembly plan. We want to walk like Moses, talk like Moses, fart like Moses, preach like Moses, but God used Moses 60 years ago. Oh, I'm preaching. And so Joshua crosses the Red Sea. God says to Joshua, God doesn't allow any of the folk who crossed the Red Sea to cross the Jordan. Why? Because they didn't obey the voice of the Lord. to whom the Lord swore to their fathers that he wouldn't show them the land that we got. What's that? A land flowing milk and honey. That's the bag. Now, Joshua, the 5th chapter, 10 verse. They celebrate the Passover, everything God did for the generation before. The man has stopped. Trump on one side, Biden on the other. It's over, right? Then they get the fruit of the land. Y'all getting this kingdom marketplace bag, this generative optimization bag. And then in Joshua, the 5th chapter, 13 verse, the Bible says Joshua got his head down like we got him now. He lifted his head up, and the first thing he sees is not Jericho. Sees a man with a military suit, with a sword in his hand. He says, hey, my boy, how you want it? Joshua 5:13. He says, you for us or against us? Neither. I represent the Lord of hosts. That's the militant God. Yes, Joshua does divide the inheritance, but he goes to fight for it first. And the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're mighty for the pulling down the strongholds that Satan has on the minds of our children. Martin Luther King Jr. in the Moses generation gave us nonviolence. In our generation, we got believing soldiers, spiritual weapons. The message of the Messiah is the same. The messaging has just changed. And when we look at, I gave y'all that for a reason. Because when we look, big picture, we see that God is in control. See, God said, I'm going to use Caleb and Joshua to lead the kids over. This means the kids got to be born 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 years later. Our mamas died 20 years ago. These kids, 23, 24, 25. They're not religious. They're spiritual. They're not conforming to the colonizer. They're conforming to the image of the Father. And our children aren't looking for religious representation. Y'all like, who is KJ Anderson? Y'all remember The Matrix? Neo, red or blue pill? Neither. See, our mamas, they taught us when we was kids. They said, never forget that the kids are watching. Because our kids are watching. That's what these eyeballs represent. And our kids are looking for representation. Not Democrat or Republican. They're looking for representation of Jesus. The King. And what we got right now is we got to go back old school. Mama and them used to have fill in the blank. They put the consonants, but then we got some vowels. And the answer being the back of the book. And see, with the group we got up there now, Warnock, John Vaughn, Shannon Jones, Isaac Ferris Jr., for the male representation we have for our sons and our daughters. When our daughters look up, they see our king as a chump. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound, save little wretched African boy like me. I was anointed for such a time like this. For our children to see our Lord as a champ he is. Now I talk about those kids. One of them daughters, is Ferris. Now I'm gonna tell you, I did not give birth to either one of them. But in my covenantal development, I see both of them the same way God does. I see they friends in between. And what will not happen is my little babies that don't have a back and Ferris and them that do got a back. Y'all can deal with Bernice and her bank. Y'all can deal with Alveda and her political shit. But Angela and Ferris, I owe a debt to Joseph Lawrence Roberts. I owe a debt to William Herbert Gray. I owe a debt to Joe Roberts. And that debt is to keep Angela and Ferris out this shit. So as a lightning rod, if I got to take the hit, I'm going to take the hit. And I'm going to tell you what I've done. What is it, 53? 53? 5,300? That's a bronze is 250. So I got to do 22 bronzes. I got to do 2 golds. But I'm going to work off what's left because this tape. Well, my daughter's suing you. The shit going back in magistrate court. But I wanted to outline this because the boss lady, Ferris Watkins' attorney, has a fiduciary responsibility of minimizing her reputation risk when he legally advises her on how to handle this case. And his strategy caused her more relationship and consequential damage, potentially, than anything else. This motherfucker had the ability to advise her. And just so y'all know, this motherfucker researched me. He saw. Y'all remember Stephen O'Neill? That's the judge in Montgomery County that took out Bill Cosby. I took Judge O'Neill out. And I want y'all to understand, it was about my daughters in Pottstown, 2012. Fact check me. Judge O'Neill could give me 180 days. He could remand me for a case that caused no jail time. This judge, Rochelle Krause, because this language is there, she could remand me as a new judge, as a white woman getting involved in this. Let me tell you what it comes down to. There is our tradition, the African tradition, an expressive communal tradition. African Christianity practically applied in the urban American context. The position that Brian Kelly attempted to frame, he attempted to frame my ministry as harassment. Now, I got all of the videos when I walked up on Willie Watkins. And I told him on video, hey, Willie, this shit gonna be so big for Ferris. Why don't you take my $2,500 and send it? But it was about sign sending. I don't know. I don't know why the fuck it happened. But I'm gonna tell you this. These girls are putting this shit in there. And over in the Carver cluster where I've been ministering, there is this perpetuation of violence. We have Raphael Gamilio Warnock's staff, his security staff, on video calling me a nigger, saying he gonna fuck me up, saying I'm gonna get hurt. We got Shannon Jones on video, his dad, at a prayer rally they called, saying I'm gonna get hurt. We got the Kingston staff on video saying I'm gonna get hurt. I'm ministering in a place where these motherfuckers won't go. And our daughters are devastated. They had it set up in FCS Ministries, took the publicity of being a diamond and canceled it. Let me let you know, I was arrested in April 2024 under false charges at my house. While I was getting bailed out, my house was robbed. We're trying to figure out where the TPO came from. And it says on April the 12th, 2024, I had an altercation with a King Center staff. That's on my docket. The King Center never called the police. Tangi did that. That connects the dots between the King Center and St. Peter's. I'm going to tell you how. Because when I'm holding a bullhorn for Naomi Barber King, she talks about Alethea Boone, who's over at St. Peter's. Now, it's a bunch of shit in the mayor's office, a bunch of people talking tough, talking about, I'm going to get hurt. There's a list of folk who are threatening me in there. Folks, so I'm going to make sure my daughter's shit is done. Watch, I'm out. We are literally shutting down the JROTC Platoon Church because of these niggas perpetuating violence. But there's some debts that have to be settled to our daughters. Wheels and Tires by Bailey, Diamond, Kinley Waller, Diamond, FCS Ministries, Diamond, Craig Simpson. Now, Craig Simpson, he facilitated all of this shit. And so we suing the fuck out of them. And I'm going to tell y'all, because I hadn't brought it up. During the 2020 presidential election, I was leaving the amazing Grace Bank Sullivan campus in Philadelphia voting rally, heading to a listening party. And I got pulled over by the Philadelphia police, extracted from my car, shot up with a bunch of tasers, and held illegally for 6 days, denied my ability to vote. I was somewhat scared. I reached out to Raphael Gamilio Warnock. I was like, Warnock, you come up back after I get in office. What Warnock did, understanding I got extracted from my car, you'll see the National Park Service lock me up. And then you'll see the day before court, I'm talking to Marty Smith. I get in my car, and just to dishevel me, the National Park Service extracts me from my car in front of the two sanctuaries. Raphael Gamilio Warnock, Isaac Ferris Jr. know my entire confidential file. They know what happened when I was 14. And they intentionally tried to use it against me. I'm cool with it. But because we live in this multimedia generation, because my daughter's got this GEO on Smash, because they're consolidating all 46 of my paper church business directories. And I'll tell you why we have select patronage.
Leon Sullivan said, "We don't buy, we don't work." The old company, Kingdom Press, was only open from 2007 to 2015. I did all these 46 directories in Georgia from the time Yolanda Denise King ascended to the time Joe Roberts ascended. I have a 10-year non-compete. The old white company gave a whole bunch of kickbacks. They're circling back around. 60% of the people never paid. It's a ministry for me, just like Sullivan had. So I'm not concerned with the 40% that did pay. I'm concerned with keeping my commitment to the 60% who didn't. And there's a lot of folks politically who don't want to see an entrepreneurial body ran by the children and the community businesses. But ask your Chamber of Commerce, ask all these folks from COVID to now, as we've gone from brick and mortar to click and order, how is it no one's giving our people any type of understanding and why they so mad about me giving you AI smart matching for free, other than the fact that they can't get paid on you? Now this shit with Bernice, when you watch or look at the 2014 curriculum of Success for Teen, Urban Success University, you'll look in 2010 and you see the Success Foundation that we did the Success for Teens curriculum. In 2009, they had their annual entrepreneurship with NIFTY, the National Foundation for Teaching Entrepreneurship. That's when Isaac Ferris and Donald Trump tried to steal our entrepreneurial ministry before. It just went full circle. Everybody knew what Bernice was up to. We just wanted to carve Angela the fuck out of it, carve Ferris the fuck out of it. Angela, Ferris, I'm sorry! Any of y'all want to help us fundraise this shit? Because I'm going to tell you what I've had to do. I've had to jump up here and do this because these girls, they finna disrespect the shit. Like Bernice, they coming for you. Alvita, they coming for you. And Angela and Ferris, they were coming for you. And with the respect that I have for your mother, and I'm gonna tell y'all what it is. Now, nobody knows Willie Watkins. Nobody gives a fuck. But because I was the one appointed down here, I actually interacted with Isaac Ferris Sr. And I don't give a fuck about the disagreement him and my father had. I think OG was a G. So I'm the only one that's gonna ride for Will Ferris and Angela. And as a lightning rod, I'm taking a shot for that. So I got till Friday, tomorrow, come up with this 53. Help. Cash App the Yokis. I do believe that I can't stop these girls from filing this case in magistrate court tomorrow. And Judge Rachel Krause, I do respect you. I do. They painting this race thing. I don't think Judge Krause is racist. When I look at Judge Krause's history on the bench and her community work, I think this woman is upstanding. I think Satan playing a game and just got this shit going. If you don't know, I got licensed by Leon Howard Sullivan on my 8th birthday. We have 60 days from today up until my 40-year anniversary being licensed to preach the gospel. It's also the United Nations Global Day of Celebration of People of African Descent. And then my birthday. Oh. And I just need to breathe. All right, if Dexter was alive and Isaac was on the front of this, I would have a field day beating him the fuck up with the Bible. As men, I teach my young boys how to be men. We don't hit women or bitches, okay? So when I call Willie Watkins a bitch, and when I call Isaac Ferris a bitch, I'm instituting what I learned from Coretta Scott King, okay? I used to be aggressive. I used to be dangerous. But if you ever had them hour and a half talks with Coretta, I'm going to tell you what she told me and Dexter. Y'all can disagree and love. But you got to put the love in front of the disagreement. So when I call Isaac a bitch nigga, when I call Willie a bitch nigga, then bitch is a female dog. You still my dog, you just backwards. The word is called repent, pussy. Because I'm stopping violence because you're not in the hood and you don't have no idea. These people are not playing with y'all. So I'm taking the shots. It wasn't Ferris, it was me. It was Isaac. It was us as men. And that doesn't portray to women. No real man. And Willie Watkins, that's some whole shit. You know you coming up against me, you seen your daughter. Angela, I'm sorry. Ferris, I'm sorry. Lady Oliver, I'm sorry. Black women in the city, I'm sorry. All of y'all get free AI smart match until August 31st to make it up to you.